Hey, how is everybody? Thank you for joining us on this Thursday evening. So you guys know, today is Thursday, Tuesday and Thursday. We always deep dive into the show, into the Badlands, which we have said is the best show on TV. And I'm even more convinced of that now as I've gone back and watched seasons 1 and 2, which, by the way, I want to encourage you to do if you are a fan of the show, because you're going to pick up so much that you didn't see before, and you definitely will be ready for the second half of season 3, which, in case you're wondering, because we get this question a lot in the comments, when is the second half starting? It actually starts the first quarter of 2019. So we don't have that long to wait, but maximize your time. Go back and see what you can see, because you guys are going to see some things that you didn't notice before. So this video won't be too long today, you guys. I want to look at Cressida because she is one of the most fascinating characters of the show that we do not know a lot about. And I think that's one of the reasons why we love her, because she is so shrouded in mystery. So here's what I want you to do. These are the things I want you to be thinking about. And hopefully we can get into it in the comments below. I want to know what you think about her character. Do you think that she was a strong enough character, her and Pilgrim for that matter, to really kind of replace Quinn on the show, which is essentially what they've done, even though they are very different types of characters? And what do you think her allegiance is to Pilgrim? Do you think she's Team Pilgrim all the way, or do you think that there are some instances when she might flip on Pilgrim? So let's get into it. So one of the best things about her character is the abilities that she brings to the show. You might not really think of her this way, but really in a sense she is a weapon almost for Pilgrim. She is somebody that has abilities that nobody else in the show that we know of anyway, or that we've seen, can execute. And I'm talking about her ability to, number one, see into the future, but the biggest asset that she has is her ability to size up the person in front of her. Now, if you guys haven't noticed or not, that when she is standing in front of somebody, she is able to actually tap into their past, tap into their desires. You guys remember the scene when she was talking to the widow and she tries to get into the widow's head. It's because she recognizes that the widow once had the dark gift and has lost it. And she appeals to the widow's desire to get it back. And we know that the widow did desire to get it back. So that's what I mean about her. She's so smart and she's so calculating. She really is an asset. And it's really fascinating to see how they develop a character like that, that has an ability or a skill that's not necessarily revolved around fighting. Because we love to see the girls get down. Like, we love to see the widow get down. We love to see Tilda get down. We love to see those girls do their thing, Baron Child, to get down. But she has a whole different weapon that she brings to this show that's really fascinating. You know what? We also see the same thing. And this is one of my favorite scenes to see with her. To see her go back and forth when she meets Lydia, when they're both meeting Pilgrim. To see those two go back and forth, because for me, those two are the smartest people on the show. Now, when we talk Lydia, we are always talking about somebody that's very calculating, very smart, and always thinking several steps ahead. Well, it's interesting to see her interact with Cressida, who has the ability to quite literally see into the future, but also has the ability to size somebody up. So to see those two talk to each other and kind of have that verbal sparring with each other was really fascinating to see that back and forth. And I hope we see more of that in the future. But one of the things I love about Cressida is what she brings to the show in terms of her abilities. It's just that's outside of the fighting prowess that some of the other ladies have. And I think that she's a huge, huge asset to the show. Now, would she stay completely Team Pilgrim? So here's the deal with Cressida. And it's actually the same thing with Pilgrim as well. One of the things that makes them so dangerous is their commitment to the religious ideology, and that they can't be bought. So neither one of them are searching for power. There is no desire to become a baron. There is no desire to own a territory. There is no desire to control clippers. They're all about furthering the cause or the advance of Azra. So when you think about that, and when you look at her commitment to Pilgrim, the question that I always ask myself is, how committed is she to him, the person? Or is her commitment greater to Azra? So at first, I wasn't really sure how to size her up, and I really wasn't sure what her motives were. And at first I thought actually she very much was controlling Pilgrim, like she was the one really behind the scenes making things happen, and Pilgrim was set as kind of a figurehead, and he may have been thinking that he was the one controlling things, but he wasn't. But I'm not so sure that that's the case now. I do think that definitely she has influence over him. I mean, we see a lot of cases in the show where she says things and she influences the actions that that he does. But at the same time, we see some cases in the show behind closed doors where the two of them get at it. So there is some conflict between the two of them, which is interesting because when you see them in front of other people, they always present a united front. And you notice how she always stands in support of him. So she notices the power of him as a figurehead in the movement of Azra. You notice she never really stands in front of him. She always stands behind him and kind of slightly to the side. And she plays that support figure. But you can see the strength and the power of her character. But Pilgrim is always the one out front. We always get that dynamic when we see her and him in front of people and they're confronting people. So it's really interesting because I feel like she's so smart that she knows that she needs to do that to present the image that needs to be presented with the two of them really advancing the cause of Azra. But I do think on the whole, I think that she probably is actually more dedicated to the cause of Azra than Pilgrim himself. There's a couple of reasons I think this. Number one, I think that she will dispose of somebody if she feels like they're not part of advancing the mission or the purpose of Azra. I think Castor is an example of that. I'm salty at her too about doing that to Castor because I was sad to see him go that way. But I wonder if the same thing would happen with Pilgrim, if she felt like he got out of line. And at one point, we do see the two of them having an argument about his commitment to Azra. And he gets mad at her because he's saying, how dare you question my own commitment? So there is some conflict there. So my question is, how much is she committed to him as an individual outside of him and the cause of Azra? Because I could actually see her flipping on him if it is the case that he went so far out of the realm of being able to support the mission of advancing Azra. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I could see that actually happening. But I want to know your thought and feedback on that. I also would love to know her backstory. Now, when we interviewed Daniel Wu, he did say that we won't find out a lot about her backstory, but we will find out more about them. And the emergence of the relationship between her and Pilgrim will grow, so we're going to see more facets of that. But she is one of the most interesting characters in the show just because it's really hard to put a pulse on where she is. And I would also love to learn more about her abilities. We know that she has some abilities, but I have the feeling that she has more. We know that Pilgrim has more. So we know that there's a lot more to see from him. And we said in the last video that a lot of people were really concerned about him getting the dark gift. But one of the things I posed for you guys to think about is to remember that Pilgrim has more abilities than just that gift. We don't know what they all are, but we do know that Cressida mentions them. So the dark gift might even be the least of things to worry about when it comes to him. So it's one of the things that we're really excited about when we think about episode 9 and beyond, waiting to see kind of how all of that plays out. But I do also want to see what she does, Cressida does, as it relates to Sunny, because she does realize the importance of Sunny's role in this whole scenario, and what will be her response if she has to go against Sunny. Now, we do know from the comments that she made earlier that she is prepared to do that, because Pilgrim is just convinced that no harm should come to Sunny because they are kin. But you see how she responds to that, saying that even kin can be a threat. So this is what I mean by where is her allegiance? Is it to any person? How would she react to Sunny? Because even that statement that she makes about even kin being threats, to me suggests that really everything is about the end cause of advancing Azra, and no single individual should get in the way of that. So there's a lot of questions when it comes to Cressida. She's a really fascinating character. And if you get a chance to go on AMC.com and read Lorraine Toussaint, she's the actress that plays Cressida, do that because it's a really interesting interview, and you get a chance to see how she responds to some of the questions and how she has in fact made that role her own. So that's all I have, you guys. I wanted to jump on today and talk about Pilgrim. And talk about Cressida, because I think that she's a really interesting character, and I think we're going to learn a lot more about her in season 3 and seasons to come. So I'm also interested to see what the relationship might be between her and Ankara, even though in I think it was maybe season 5 or so, or episode 5 or so of season 3, when Baji mentions Ankara, she acts like she doesn't know who she is. I said before in another video, I have a hard time believing that. I think that she knows full well who Ankara is, but she's so smart that she would never act like that if it was not advantageous to what it was that she was trying to do. So I would love to see them meet. I would love to see the meeting between her and Sunny's sister, who, by the way, is not the widow and is not the master. That has been confirmed. Sunny's sister is a new character. Her name is Kanan, I believe is how you pronounce that, and we will see her very shortly after the second half of season 3 starting. So I want to say that because we get in the comments a lot of who we think the Sonny's, who we think his sister is. The sister is also not MK's mom. So there you have it, you guys. But so what are your thoughts about Cressida? How do you feel about her? What do you feel like her motivations are? How do you feel about Cressida and Pilgrim coming in and really kind of taking that major villain role away from Quinn? How does all that strike you? How are you guys enjoying her character? So let's get into that in the comments below, guys. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are building an amazing community around this show on this channel, which is one of the major missions of this channel. Make sure you check out the playlist. There are tons of videos in there. At this point, we may have over 30 videos in the playlist, and we get into so many different aspects of the show. It's more than just coverage of each episode, which I am excited to get back to that because that's always a lot of fun. But we also talk about so many different aspects, from the social structure of the Badlands to the martial arts combat execution to the different kind of character profiles like what we're getting into here today. So guys, make sure that you check out that playlist, and with that, make sure that you share this, give it a like if you liked it. I'm looking forward to connecting with you in the comments. I try and answer each and every one, and you guys should see that reflected in the comments when you go through them. Also, finally, guys, make sure that you hop over and check out the 2K Q&A video. It's a video where you guys can ask me anything about Into the Badlands or anything else you want to know. 1,000 subscribers over the past 30 days or so, actually more than 1,000 now, have joined the community, and almost virtually all of them are Into the Badlands fans. So it's a chance for you to connect with them as well, and for me to have some fun answering your questions. So hop over to that. I'll link that up at the end of this video and put any questions you have for me in the comment section. All right, guys, thank you so much. With that, I will see you on the next video. Peace.